Again, good afternoon, and thank you guys for sticking around. As I was introduced, my name is Dominic Enriquez, and here we have Ramon. And just to give you a bit of background, Zodiac Seat Shells in Santa Maria. So we're the design and manufacturer of business class seats for commercial aircraft, supporting mainly Airbus and Boeing OEMs. Some of you may be familiar with our product if you're flying overseas, or long business trips. They're comfy, cushy, nice experience. So really, that's our purpose. What we should be doing is really providing the businessmen and women of throughout the world with a highly comfortable product. Those of you in the manufacturing area, I see some of you here in Santa Maria. It's no secret that Zodiac has struggled with some delivery and performance issues. So some raised eyebrows, right? So it's no secret. We're going to be talking about here of an Airbus A350 quality and delivery improvement project that we went through recently. Just give you a bit of a case study through our journey. How many have felt this, being thrown into, or volunteering or being voluntold for a project? Does this bring up, no, yeah, everybody's comfortable and cool, right? So we stepped into this A350 program, suffered loss of goodwill from the customer. Our previous shipments were of low, unacceptable quality levels, poor rate and delivery, missing our commitments here. So I remember being called up into the upstairs corner office and say, hey, we need some help. And so, okay, how can I help you? So they gave me this. We need you to improve quality and we need you to improve rate. Okay, fantastic, right? And we start paring this down into some operational definition. With the program, when you have the customer, Airbus, on site, the continuous oversight sitting on your shoulders, the penalties, essentially as a threat, the schedule backslides, as I said, executive pressures, unrealistic timelines. So we wanted to step into a change. And again, we could have taken that pressure, operated in the same way, flowed that down to manufacturing operations and said, hey guys, you need to because of this. But we decided to take a different approach, leveraging the DMAIC methodology, but change our tone and change the way that we communicate with the shop floor employees. So ultimately we did some analysis and wanted to get into feeling that we can really realistically improve our quality by about 50% and improving our rate to meet our customer deliveries by about 7.5% with the time that was given. So we were off.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ramon. I've been with Zodiac for about 4 years now. When I started working there, I was a manufacturing engineer. So I worked a lot with technical aspects of the business. Was involved with production quite a bit. Very familiar with the tools that we wanted to use so that we can improve on what we were doing. But during this project, Dominic nominated me to help him. So I came in not as a manufacturing engineer, but as a production manager. And when we were about to start the project, I knew that if we were going to make a change, we were going to have to do things a little bit different. So we wanted to take the approach of building a strong team. And we knew that in order to do that, we were going to have to gain the trust of the team. And we were going to have to show them a way how we were going to go through this project because it hadn't been working. And they were trying different things to go really fast. But it still wasn't meeting the customer expectations. So the number one thing that we did with the team is that we came in and we established our core values on how we were going to be working. The first thing that we wanted to do was to build a sense of community. So we wanted to get in there with the team. We wanted to get to know them, be able to talk to them, and just see some of the things that they were going through on a daily basis. More importantly, we wanted to listen to them because they had a lot to say. but maybe we weren't listening to them as managers or engineers. So we went in there. We actually moved into the line. So I moved my desk right in the middle of the line so I could be close to them, and I could, as soon as they had something to say, I was there, ready to help. And I wanted to do this so that we could focus them, we could focus the energy from our employees into the customer needs. And what we realized is that it's not that we needed to go really fast, because that was driving our quality down. So we had to teach ourselves and teach our operators that we actually had to slow down at the beginning so that we can later speed up. And the way we did this is by focusing on the quality aspect of it, and knowing what the customer wanted and actually teaching that to the team. The next thing that we did is that we wanted people to understand that we needed them to actually raise their hand. So we wanted to empower them to make a change and not be afraid. The message that we were delivering before that was that you have to go really fast and you have to figure out how to do it. And sometimes we weren't listening. So by giving the operators the empowerment to actually stop the line, we actually started getting ideas, and we were able to start bonding that team. So after we laid that foundation and those core values on how we wanted to operate, we started looking at the actual technical aspects of it, which is what Dominic's going to explain to us right now.
So, as Ramon said, really bringing the experts to the environment, and listening to them was key to success. I mean, we'll go through some tools and what we used. We understood what we were doing, but the questions that we were asking, they didn't know. We weren't training specifically a tool set, really. It's let's get the information from you, and then we'll apply it in a way that is known. So, here we have process cycle times. We need an improvement there. Improving our material flow and improving our quality, as we said. Again, not very granular and specific yet, but if anybody here knows how to eat an elephant, right, it's one bite at a time, or one Pareto principle at a time. So in our jumping into measure, we started breaking this stuff down quickly, and a lot of this was on the shop floor. As Ramon said, he and I were in the production area there, working on this stuff, working with the team to help improve this and gain some clarity. So just classical, we drove to basically some workmanship issues that drove 34% of the issues, some part-to-part interference, and some material handling issues. We identified those as main opportunities for quality improvement. So what we started doing is that we wanted to coach the people on some of the tools that we would use with some of our engineers and stuff. We wanted to take the tools and use them on the line. So we didn't want to overcomplicate it. We wanted to keep it somewhat basic. So the first thing that we did is that we started doing a process map, and we actually started doing this right on the line. We had a whiteboard that we rolled it out. And we started getting the input of operators, as well as some of the supporting functions. So other people, the people that deliver the parts, we gathered and started doing these little sticky pads, trying to identify the opportunities where we can actually improve. So we wanted to eventually be able to create a value stream map that could lay out how we were going to actually operate. By doing this, it helped us so that everybody on the team, not just management, but the supporting groups, the operators, and everybody that was actually giving us an input was actually going to buy into the ideas that we were laying out in front of the board. And this is the fundamentals of actually being able to establish change and be able to sustain it. So in order to, while we were working on the back end, there's a lot of these actions being run in parallel. One thing that we've really taken a hold of in the facility is really trying to drive line QRQC. Some of you may have heard that before. I think Roots and Nissan, and really taken on by Valeo, an automotive company. And this is nothing more than flip charts here and identifying problems off the line and working them just immediately. So line stoppages, going back to the empowerment, the employees, the operators, mechanics being able to say, I have a problem, we do not continue, we post it and we're able to work it just on a flip chart. So here's just an example, and this is for customer protection and also to manage the perception. A key piece, they see this, our customers in our environment are there on the shop floor with us, asking us questions. So they like to see, we're taking the approach to improve the quality of their product. So this worked very well. Just some standard tools getting into analyze, and this is just one example here, but we went through many iterations of root cause analysis. Identify loose fasteners as an opportunity. Again, bringing the team in. This was just a clarified, sometimes when we get into flip chart writing, as you guys all know, it gets a little bit messy. So we'll reproduce this one for your viewing pleasure. Typical tool, again, getting to some underlying causes, being able to work those back into production to implement the containment.
So the next thing was during the analyze step, we actually created the Yamasumi chart that you can see on the screen. Basically, a very simple tool, but it's very powerful when working with the team because it helped us identify things that are value added to the operation, as well as things that are non-value added, which are the ones in yellow, and then the ones in red that are non-value added, but we absolutely have to do them because it's either some kind of test or inspection that is required so that we can meet our regulations. And it was a good tool because we laid it out in front of the team. And there was some of the areas that we thought we couldn't actually change, like some of the red portions. When we got the team together, they actually got very creative, and they were able to break down the process further. Things that we didn't think about, but we actually were able to change them, and then we were able to distribute them better throughout the process, and it actually helped us improve on how we were doing things.
So moving on, is again the standard corrective action matrix being worked by the team so we can prioritize correctly the solutions that we wanted to put in place. Again, the vital few versus the trivial many, it really is important, especially in these cases when we're trying to increase our velocity of the line in such a short period of time, with $1 million penalties hanging over our head, we wanted to make sure that we're focusing on the right thing.
Okay, so here you can see the value stream map. So using this tool, we took all of our ideas and we actually put them down in writing so we can set the very essentials of how we were going to operate. So we wanted to define the work content of our stations. We wanted to define the cycle times, how long it was going to take us to do something, how many operators we were going to have, and then also how we were going to get the parts to the line. And this was a very critical step because in our process, even though it may not be a very complicated product, getting the parts at the right place is always a challenge. So it was a good tool to have so that we can establish those basic things. From there on, we moved on to the next step, which is actually controlling the work and the operation at the workstation and being able to communicate that to the operators. Throughout the facility, we've had efforts before where we were trying to do these things, but we didn't actually do them with the operators. So we were thinking, engineers and quality engineers, manufacturing engineers were in the room thinking that they had laid it out perfectly, but they actually didn't lay it out perfect because they didn't have the input. So by doing this, we were able to have a visual aid in front of the workstation where we broke down the times according to what the operators told us and what we also saw as we were able to improve on the process. And we actually started integrating some of our key quality aspects that we needed to check as we were building the units. And you can see there that there's illustrations, and we also were able to drive the quality inspections upstream. And this is where if you look at the other chart, you can see some of the processes that happen before the final assembly, and I'll let Dominic talk about that.
Yeah, so the work instructions are not new. Again, it was just a way to flow it upstream, both for manufacturing, putting the ownership of quality in the operator's hands and the mechanic's hands, working alongside quality. Is really a team effort, getting their inputs on critical to quality characteristics that we talked about, and in a way that's you can digest, or the operator could digest, not an engineering drawing, a 2D schematic, something that's difficult to interpret, something more visual that they had input on. It really helped with the buy-in itself. So as we said, we implemented some of those upstream. In closing, the results speak for themselves, and we can't go into a lot of detail here with the time constraints, but and these are reproduced again for your viewing pleasure. But our DPU reduction, I mean, we saw some incredible movement there. These are just some examples, but a 64% improvement on the DPUs is incredible for us for a shipset 2 with 6 zero defect units. For our product, the subjectivity alone is incredible. It's highly aesthetic. You know, what is a scratch to somebody, maybe a ding to somebody else, and really not of the right quality call out. And our rate improvement, right? So 14%, well, hey, it's an improvement. You know, we want to be realistic. You know, we weren't trying to go for anything better than that. We were able to avoid our penalties here, and really just the satisfaction from the customer themselves was. We still see the results of that, you know, in other programs being considered and awarded to Zodiac as a result of continuous improvement efforts. And there's no better KPI than, you know, the smiles on the faces of the mechanics and the people that really move the needle. You know, being proud of their work. As we said before, it's really about that first step and creating that sense of community and purpose. I'm a huge fan of Simon Sinek, right? And those who have read Start With Why, it's really about that purpose initially, giving that to the team. And then you work the tools and you work the things, and it comes easier. And the sustainability, it happens itself. So, just in closing, on the surface, you know, we were tasked with a program recovery mission. We were prepared to do that, you know, but to be able to bring the team along through this journey, and some individuals, I think the added benefit here is really create that sense of what is improvement, what is continuous improvement, and how do I learn more about it is incredible, and that is something that is incredibly meaningful to us, you know, in our improvement efforts. So, you know, with that, that's all we have, and we want to open it up to any questions that you guys may have.
So what was the timeline for this improvement effort? Was it just a matter of weeks, or was it like kind of how long did it take to go from start to finish?
It was about 30 days. I guess going back to how we started the project, I was working just the same day from the morning to the afternoon. When I was leaving, I was already working at Sri Lanka, so I was nominated fairly quick to that project. Any other questions?
So did you take these guys off the line?
Here you go. Do you mind?
Did you take these guys off the line and out of production to work on this project?
These guys here?
These machinists, operators?
Yeah, absolutely. So this picture is the last suite shipment. So everybody, not by asking them, this is like kind of the sense of pride, right? They all stuck around to see that last unit out the door.
But during the project, did you make time for them to leave the manufacturing line to work on the project with you?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and there's probably a lot of thoughts on that, but, you know, we are certainly empowered to do so, and wanted to make sure that they had input and felt invested into the project itself and the improvement. So that was critical for us. How do we create that time? Yeah, so we had a lot of shortages and quality things that needed to be worked on anyways by some maybe a little bit more technical views. So our thought was, as Ramon said, we're going to slow down to speed up. And trust me, it was painful, having program managers on the floor and the customers on the floor. Why aren't you moving this unit from one station to the next? It's because the work content's not respected. It's not of quality level. These are the reasons why. We started building that trust with them. At first, they're hesitant and say no, but we asked them to let us show them, and it proved out. Thank you, guys.